and I, we have met before through the magic of a moment in cyberspace. Driven by a passion to win, playing heart to heart, face to face. The challenge of a lifetime stands before us now. Beyond the game, through the portal into cyberspace, we have come to decide our fate. We're here to celebrate beyond the game. Beyond the game, at last, the moment's at hand. All we need is to believe we can. We'll make our stand beyond the game. 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 The world's cyber game. Beyond the game. Beyond the game. Beyond the game. The world's cyber game.
Hello and welcome to day number 3 of WCG Korea, guys. I am Doa. With me is Monte Cristo as always, and today we have SK Telecom, your Season 3 World Championship team in the house. They're going to take on MVP Blue in our first semifinal match to get one step closer to going to the WCG Global Finals in China next month. It's going to be an interesting match today, isn't it?
It will be, and Samsung Blue, of course, has been doing quite well so far in these qualifiers. A bit of a surprise. They've had a few roster mix-ups, and they already took down their sister team, Ozone, in the quarterfinals, but this is going to be a much harder match.
Yeah, I think it's, going from MVP Ozone to SK Telecom, it's a little bit of a jump in terms of difficulty for these guys. So we'll see what they can do. I mean, a lot of people predicting a 2-0. Let's just get out of the way right away. Yeah, SK Telecom's pretty much favored to take this thing pretty easily, but you never know. Any given day, I guess. You can't say any given Sunday because League of Legends can be played on any day, not like football that's only played on Sunday, Monday, sometimes Saturday,
and Thursday.
All right, who knows? You can't even do that with football anymore, I guess. But here's our schedule. Today is day 1 of the semifinals. Of course, tomorrow will be our second one, and then finally on Friday, we're going to find out who's going to China to represent Korea in WCG 2013. There's our bracket so far. Yesterday, we saw CJ Blaze and Najin Whiteshield advance. They'll be playing in the semifinal tomorrow. So overall, we've had a really good tournament so far, I feel.
That's right. And CJ Blaze looking pretty solid with their new roster. And if you guys missed it, Najin Whiteshield versus Jinair Stealth Game 2 is definitely one to watch. It was a very exciting game. 2 different kind of compositions going head-to-head, and it had a pretty wild ending. So
yeah, one of the closest games we've seen in a long time. Well, today we've got a best of 3 between SK Telecom T1 and Samsung Blue. No blind pick in the third game. Oh, well. We'll get that when Champions Winter starts again. I'm sure we'll have plenty of blind pick then. But for now, it's just going to be alternating sides as usual, just regular old draft pick. But, I will say this. I feel like Samsung Blue has a better chance of beating SK Telecom in a best of 3 than a best of 5.
Yes,
yeah,
I think that's true as well. But it is going to be a pretty uphill battle for them. That said, they're looking pretty strong in general right now. It'll be exciting to see how they do for the rest of Season 3 and the start of Season 4 here in Korea.
Well, no matter who comes out ahead, in the end, in this WCG tournament we've had this week, we've gotten a chance to see a lot of really exciting up-and-coming teams in the Korean scene that I think we're going to see really good stuff from once OGN Champions Winter starts.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is almost kind of like a sneak peek into what's coming for the next season of Champions, too. So it's been really cool in that regard as well.
Yeah, it has been. And, of course, the Jin Air Stealths and Najin White Shield both looking pretty solid right now, especially Najin White Shield.
Yeah.
They played very, very well yesterday. It was surprising. I mean, this is a team that looked like they were on the up and up but hadn't quite gotten it all together yet. But their play calling yesterday, especially in Game 1, was spectacularly good.
You know, I mean, if we think about SK Telecom a couple months ago, too, they were a team that had a lot of potential, but they had this problem here and there with their gameplay. And so when you look at Shield, you kind of see some of the similar things. I mean, it's going to be really hard to recreate the kind of career that SK Telecom T1 has had so far, but you see some of those similar sort of qualities in some of the teams that are coming up, that they've got a lot of potential but just need to fix a few things with their gameplay.
Yeah, that's right. And as for SK Telecom, if they advance to the finals here, it'll be either CJ Blaze or Najin White Shield that stand in their way.
Either one, a pretty good opponent. I feel like Blaze may offer a little bit more challenge to SK Telecom than Shield would right now, but either way, I mean, SK Telecom, they came into Worlds as a favorite. They're definitely coming in to WCG Korea as a favorite as well. Everybody's counting on them to win it today. Can MVP Blue force an upset? We'll see.
We will indeed in just a few minutes. But it's been a pretty solid tournament so far. Thanks a lot for you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
And we will be casting the WCG Global Finals as well in Kunshan in China.
We'll be there.
We will be. So. And I'm very excited with WE and OMG heading in from China. We know those teams are going to be there already. China gets an extra team because they're hosting this year. And it'll be really fun to see the Korean teams go up against some of the better Chinese squads again.
Well, everybody was kind of missing WE a little bit at the World Championships, too, so it'll be good to see them in action again for that. I mean, WCG this year for League of Legends is really shaping up to be an extremely good, high-skill level tournament. So I'm looking forward to the finals quite a bit.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It'll be aces, as it were.
But for now, MVP Blue I still say MVP. Samsung Blue kind of needs to run the gauntlet as far as, like, can they take on SK Telecom? It's not going to be easy. Something on the screen behind us is happening.
They're showing a picture right now. You could look at our Twitter accounts actually to see this picture if you go to GGC Monte Cristo and GG Doha.
Yep.
But it is a picture of the KESPA chairman, who's also a senator in the Korean government, who is cosplaying as Gragas. It's pretty funny.
Yep, that's right. Jun Jun-hoon is his name, I believe. And, he's Gragas. But he's Debonair Gragas. He's like, I don't know the exact name.
He's also a very Gragas Esquire, and it's all.
Oh,
he's
Gragas
also
Esquire. That's right. Yeah.
He's also a very lean Gragas.
He is. Yep, that's true. He's Gragas after he switched completely to wine and then had a much more moderate diet, I guess. I don't know. Gragas 2014. We'll see. He can do it. I believe in him. Well, I think a lot of people believing in these guys right now. SK Telecom T1. Again, your League of Legends Season 3 World Championship team. Pumandu at support, Piglet at AD carry, of course, Faker in the mid lane, Bengi in the jungle, and then at the top lane, nobody can forget the impact that Impact has made over the last few tournaments these guys have been in. An incredible team right now.
Yeah, just red hot like their jerseys. And these guys, look at them. They are all smiles, not a care in the world right now. And, of course, they've been like that since they won the World Championship. I was in the same hotel with them, and they were just adorable after they won, and they headed back.
Crazy afterwards?
No, they were just cute as a button, very, very happy, and you could see that's still here today, and it's great to see such a happy team.
Happy, but they can't underestimate anybody. You know, we saw the Korean teams underestimating their opponents a little bit in Worlds in the group stages. So even though they come back to Korea $1 million richer, you still can't rest on your laurels. And I feel like SK Telecom is one of the better teams at not doing that. So you can be sure they came to play today, even if they're coming into it with a well-deserved amount of confidence.
Yeah. Well, SK Telecom has been pretty methodical throughout their history, and I think that their coaching staff really keeps them pretty tightly under wraps in terms of their confidence or overconfidence, as the case may be.
And here are the young upstarts, Samsung Blue. Not MVP anymore. I'm sorry, guys. I casted like years of MVP StarCraft. Then it was MVP League of Legends, and now suddenly it's Samsung.
And look at this. Sense on the end there, the support player has a sign that actually says heart. So I wonder if he's going to be summoning Captain Planet soon.
Maybe. I mean, that's like the worst Captain Planet power to get, though. Because
well, but he's the support. I feel it makes sense. He's the heart of the team.
No way, dude.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, maybe, I guess. But Heart was like the lamest Captain Planet power because you couldn't control animals or anything. The only thing you could do with the Heart power in Captain Planet is just make animals not attack you. And I can do that too. I just like don't provoke them.
Really?
I don't stick my arm into the tiger cage
It's time.
or something like that.
It's time to put you in a cage full of lions and see if you're right.
Well, see,
So
I
a
would just
soothing presence
I would
because you
give
have the
that
heart play. You have the heart power as a support player.
my power is not getting into the lion cage to begin with. I'm just not going to do that. I'm just going to view it from afar, you know, from like a helicopter or something like that. But I'm not going to shoot him or anything. I'm just going to take pictures or something. I don't know.
Well, we'll see if they can summon Captain Planet today.
Well, by their powers combined, maybe they'll be able to do it. We'll see. It's time, guys. Picks and bans for game number 1. SK Telecom T1 versus Samsung Blue. I like where this cast is going already.
It just doesn't make any sense, as it were, because he hasn't changed his ID. Now, he has changed his ID multiple times. Solo Chunyang used to be a jungler, but they moved him over to support and got Spirit in there. Spirit's looking pretty sharp right now. And
whoa, LeBlanc banned against Faker. Interesting.
well,
I mean, he's good on LeBlanc, but still, I feel like there's other more prominent bans to worry about.
and they're banning the Rumble against Chunju as well. That is
That's a
his
good ban.
main champion. And I'm curious if the Nidalee's going to get through today, because Pawn has been playing some pretty high-level Nidalee, and Deft is an AD carry that is very well situated to this new Trinity Force meta. One of the top Ezreal players here in Korea, always very
And
impressive. And there we go, the
there you
Nidalee
go.
first pick taken up immediately.
Yeah, they may want to grab Ezreal away because that combination between the Nidalee Spirit and the True Shot Barrage can mean a ton of damage on a single target. That's what we've been seeing players and teams do already in this tournament, so we'll see.
And MVP, or excuse me, I just did it too.
I know,
Samsung Blue
we're all doing it.
has been the team in the qualifiers. Now, the qualifiers are played on the live realm. Lucian is not available on the tournament realm yet, but they were using a Trinity Force Lucian in conjunction with Nidalee in order to get some pretty awesome sieges going in the earlier stages of this tournament.
Oh, there's a Corki lock-in as well as the Elite. So, I mean, Corki, of course, a really high contested champion right now. Another powerful Trinity Force AD carry. We'll see what SK Telecom decides to pick up in response.
Yeah, so far, looks like we will be seeing that siege composition coming in again from Samsung Blue. This has been their bread and butter recently, and that's what got them here.
Faker's face right now just says, "Welcome to my nightmare."
Well, and Lee Sin and Orianna, standard as standard can be for SK Telecom T1. Grabbing that mid lane pickup. Once he saw the Nidalee come in, that should be a pretty safe lane for Faker to run with right here. And his most played champion so far in his professional career as well. So something that he's incredibly comfortable on.
And speaking of comfort, Shen, a pretty comfortable pick for really anybody these days.
Right, and if they know the siege comp is coming in, this gives them a lot of opportunities to split push right now, because odds are that Samsung Blue is going to go for a 5-man poke composition, and so having the Shen able to create pressure on the other lanes but still show up with Stand United is a really good tool in order to deal with this.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like the Sona going to be one of the final pickups for Samsung Blue. We'll see. And the Renekton.
Yeah, the Renekton is, they pretty much have to pick that now in order to deal with this Shen. So I like that, matching him up in lane. Now we saw just yesterday Najin Shield using that Tiamat first Renekton against Shen to constantly shove him in.
It
and
worked
that
really
really
well, too.
nullified the split pushing capabilities of Shen. I thought it was a great idea. And it was a really nice way to control it. You can also make sure that you're constantly next to Shen in order to stun him if he starts to use that Stand United.
Yep, they are going to lock that in. So one final pick going over to SK Telecom T1. And who's it going to be?
They need a support with some disengage right here. And Zyra's down and out. So we may see a Thresh pickup or a Leona.
Oh, that's aggressive, but I like it. I was wondering if maybe, even though a Nami wouldn't fit as well into this, I mean, Mandu is a great Nami player, but Leona?
The Leona pick does make sense. If you're not going to go for that disengage in case the siege composition, you want something that has a lot of hard engage so that you can get into that back line.
Man, they've
and
got a lot.
Make the plays you need to make. So I like it. It also gives you a way to get the Orianna ball into the back line as well.
Yep.
So that all-in potential. If you want to deal with a poke composition, you have to have either some way to safely defend turrets or alternatively some way to kind of all in them. And so the Leona pickup going to be quite effective here against the poke coming out of Samsung Blue. So
Leona and Lee Sin are going to be pretty good vehicles to get Shen into the back lines too. So they've got multiple ways to do a little bit of insurance just in case Lee Sin can't get back there. Leona's got a pretty good chance. So there's our final rosters once again in Stretchovision. This is apparently just what we do here now, I guess. But as you can see, pretty solid rosters for both teams. Why, Faker, have you lost weight?
He has all that healthy eating in America.
I wouldn't advise that. He's probably only I think he's only like 90 pounds anyway.
Well,
dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the compositions, and it'll be interesting to see Pumandu playing Leona. Not a champion that we typically see him on, but an exciting change of pace.
All right, well, guys, it's time to rave our way into game number 1. SK Telecom T1 versus Samsung Blue. Let's get in the game. I feel like I should be waving around glow sticks or something like that in that pre-intro music. All right, here we go, guys. Samsung Blue versus SK Telecom T1, set 1 out of this best of 3. MVP Blue has, like you put it earlier, Monte Cristo, a bit of a mountain to climb if they want to take down League of Legends Season 3 World Champions. It's not going to be easy.
It certainly won't be, but something to look for here in this game. I'm curious what they're going to do with this Leona pick. Now, Leona, they want the 2v2 lane, because if you have melee all in and you just push somebody under turret, it doesn't give you a lot of it doesn't give you a lot of options in terms of utilizing Leona's skill set and her all-in potential early on.
Yeah.
And also, because she's a melee support, it's a lot harder to go ahead and siege those turrets, so you'll probably lose your turret faster in the 2v1 situation. So right now, SK Telecom should be looking for that 2v2, and conversely, Blue really wants the 2v1.
Yeah.
And also, another thing to look for here, and when we get into the late game, is I'm curious how Mandu's going to play this. He really has two options here. Does he, during the siege, is he going to choose to come in from the front, or is he going to try and get some sort of flank to come in onto the back line from the side?
That'll be interesting to see. I mean, we did see Watch play that jungle Leona.
No,
didn't work terribly well.
That was ugly.
I would imagine the solar flares from Mandu are going to be a little bit more on target.
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, not to go too much into that game, but Watch, if you don't have an early game presence as Jungle Leona, you've pretty much entirely screwed it up, and Watch entirely screwed it up, so.
It's too bad. And so, looks like the red buff going to be first one taken for Spirit.
Well, this is interesting. So the warded red is going to tell SK Telecom that they are going to get that dual lane at the bottom, and we saw that ward go deep for Samsung Blue, but it's not going to actually serve them very well. Will they rotate here, or are they just going to stick with it, is the next question.
So far it looks like they're going to stick with it, but we'll see. They've still got a little bit of time to make a decision there. And it, really is about Chunju too. Can he put the sort of aggression onto Shen that we saw yesterday? Is he going to go ahead and get the pickaxe first and just try to keep Shen locked up and push back in lane?
Yeah, and this is the situation, too, that you want to be in if you're a Samsung Blue right now, is just close by your turret. It eliminates a lot of the threat from that Leona, because you're not going to be able to dive with her very effectively early. So Samsung Blue looking like they're in a good position so far in the laning phase, especially if they can freeze the lane right where it is close to their turret.
Right. I mean, we've seen really dangerous laning from SK Telecom throughout their career, but I feel like where the real danger comes in is once the team starts moving kind of as a unit, not just the plays they can make, but just how they push every single situation to the utmost gain for their team. And just the way these guys can close out games too. Well, you can survive the laning phase against SK Telecom, but it's really what comes after that's a big concern.
Yeah, we can see Faker already pushing his lane quite aggressively, using that AoE that Orianna has to denies some CS from Pawn right here, and it also creates a nice big minion shield for him to hide behind and eat less spears in that situation. So it is kind of risky, though, and as we can see, Chunju already roaming.
Guys coming down. Faker's in a little bit of trouble here. There's the stun. Faker in a lot of trouble now. Can he get position to flash? Oh, he flashes into the brush, but he's not going to fool Pawn. First blood goes to Samsung Blue.
And that was a great roaming decision there from Chunju. Now, he didn't get the kill, and his lane did get shoved in. Faker looks a little peeved right now.
I would feel that way, yeah.
But that's the risk you run, and that was just great play calling from Samsung Blue to react to that situation. Pawn saying, hey, he's pushing me in right here. He's playing way too aggressively. No wards. He hasn't gotten that first back yet. And Chunju reacting with a roam. And that is something that we so rarely see from top laners here in Korea. We almost never see a top laner do that kind of roaming, so it did catch SK Telecom a bit off guard.
Well, it just goes to show, I mean, like we were talking about before the games began, I mean, SK Telecom, yeah, they are the world champions, they're a great team, but you really cannot underestimate anybody. And here comes Spirit coming into bot lane. Piglet needs to make a run for it. Can they catch him with the cocoon? No, nice dodge from Piglet. Nice little juke, not get hit by that. Looks like him and Mandu are going to be just fine for now.
Yeah, I really love that play that we saw right there. Shoving the lane so aggressively into Impact's turret, and then going ahead and using that kind of route through the SK Telecom jungle to help pick up that kill and help Spawn out too. He's got that Chalice now with that first blood gold, and so it's going to be a lot more difficult for Faker to deal with this Nidalee pick. Bengi now coming around through the tri-brush.
Yeah, but Spirit's coming right through there as well. They're going to find him. He's going to need to be careful. Yeah, and everyone's just going to back off. We'll see if there's any action. Deft coming in. Mandu taking some damage after that Zenith Blade in. Bengi needs to back off. That didn't work out too well.
Well, Mandu actually missed his Zenith Blade there. So it wasn't an optimal engage. And SK Telecom already making a couple of mistakes here in this game.
Yeah. You need to be careful. You got to take everything seriously. Interesting.
And Bengi doing what Bengi does. Spirit Stone, no boots yet. And instead of getting boots, he opts to spend his gold on a green and a pink ward right here, getting that vision control so he could do a little bit of counter jungling and dropping wards all the way through that jungle. So he's going to continue to make very aggressive plays. They want to use this Leona to its utmost potential here in the laning phase to pick up some kills if they can. But
I think especially after that first blood that Faker gave up, they're really feeling some pressure to make some plays themselves in the early game. Let's see if they can. Chunju still pushing really aggressively in that top lane. I feel like we're starting to really see a bit of an evolution in the Renekton top.
Ooh, look at this.
Playstyle,
yeah, Faker coming back to lane right now. And I really like what we saw there from Samsung Blue. After they shoved the lane, they knew that they didn't have any wards and they were in a dangerous position, and Bengi might be camping them, so they just went and did the little golems, waited for the lane to come back and freeze. This is just great solid play if you're going up against a Leona.
Oh, there's a cocoon. Bengi gets jumped on. A lot of damage put on him by Spirit. He needs to safeguard over the wall, but there's Repel chasing him down. Bengi in a bit of trouble. Can he catch him? Can he get the execute? Forces the flash. Meanwhile, Pawn 1v1s Faker. No way. I got to see the replay of that.
Yeah, this is going to be a pretty impressive replay right there, and Faker used his Ignite, had his flash down from earlier, and Pawn, of course, with that barrier, able to easily absorb all of that damage coming out. And this is why we've seen those Nidalee bans come down against Samsung Blue, because Pawn is a monster with this Nidalee.
It's an absolutely great Nidalee player. Looks like they might try to dive Impact here, and then Pawn comes in with the spear to add the damage, and Chunju pops the ultimate. He's going to be fine despite the Ignite. And man, what a start for Samsung Blue.
Yeah, they are just doing everything right here. Let's take a look at what happened. Faker from full health as well.
Yeah.
And Faker comes in with the auto harass, speeding it up a little bit, trying to wait and see what happens. Whoop. Okay, so Faker tries to, he plays way too aggressively right here. He gets hit by a lot of that minion damage, and Pawn just turns around and hits him with a point-blank spear to the face.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I mean, he really, the positioning of that 1v1 is not good for Faker at all, walking right into him for that shockwave. No need for that, man. That did not work out. This has suddenly become a very interesting match, though.
Yeah, it has. Well, in spite of all of that, Faker has kept up in CS, and Bengi's still a little bit up on CS as well. So not the end of the world. It's only about 1,000 gold down for SK Telecom T1 right here, but they continue.
Yeah, wait, no, that's impossible. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that was the
That was a
Leona
shield, actually,
W
yeah.
exploding right there. Just caught the end of that. And Spirit now coming in for another gank. Now there's some good wards right there. Oh, Piglet getting a little over-eager.
Yeah, def very low. I feel like SKT's really feeling the pressure now. Bengi going in, diving into the turret, taking a lot of damage. And can he live long enough? That's very low. Are they going to get the double? They will. Stand United coming down on Bengi, allowing them to pick up that double kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, Spirit's coming in, though, with 4, though. I really like what we saw right there. Mandu saved his Zenith Blade in order to pick up that second kill and make sure that—
Faker gets taken out by Pawn again. He's going to get out.
Well, that surprised me again, and wow, Faker not having the best game, but Pawn absolutely dominating him.
Yeah, this is going to be a game Pawn tells his grandkids about, I think.
And look at this, already starting that dragon as well. Pawn coming to help out since SK Telecom was so low, and Pawn managed to get that solo kill on